Leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel if you're a fan of King Von. Now this video has been requested by many of you in the comments of my last video, so I am guessing that a lot of you guys are still confused about the entire King Von incident that happened that night. So I am going to be sharing with you guys today the honest truth behind the entire King Von situation, things like what happened that night, and also some exclusive footage of King Von that night that he sadly passed. So make sure you guys watch this video all the way until the end, as this is a very important one. Now King Von has without a doubt been one of the largest rappers of 2020. From teaming up on hit songs such as Crazy Story with Lil Durk, as well as his new album Welcome to O Block, he has been pulling millions upon millions of streams on his new music this year. And obviously with how King Von presents himself, you could probably guess that he doesn't really get along with every single person he meets, and especially due to the ties that he has made within the street type of lifestyle. Not every single rapper that he does end up meeting within this whole music industry is going to like him for those things that I just mentioned. And well, this happens to be one of those cases where King Von did have a situation going on with another rapper who goes by the name of Rondo. You've probably heard of him before. He makes a ton of music. He has a lot of songs that went completely viral, and this is basically how it all started. I am going to be breaking down the truth on what really happened that night, and this is all from King Von's own manager's words in an exclusive interview that he did do with DJ Academics just the other day at the time of this recording. Now I also do want to mention that his manager was actually with King Von on that night, and if you have watched the surveillance footage, he's actually the one that was standing beside King Von when it all happened. Now King Von's manager, as I just said, was with him on that sad night that it all went down. What a lot of people actually don't know is that King Von was actually at his own album release party on that night. He was celebrating the release of his new album Welcome to O Block on that night when it all went down. Now once it was over and they all left that party, King Von with a few of his friends ended up going to a different club after that. Now at this other club, this is actually where Rondo and his crew were. There was actually some Instagram live videos made of Rondo with his crew. They were recording some sort of music video, and I guess they ended up at this club after making, that music video. Now at this club, King Von actually ended up getting there. From what his manager was saying in the interview, he was stating that King Von, he didn't really have the correct state of mind that he usually has. He just wasn't really, acting like himself that night. Obviously, no one really knows what was going on in his head that night. There could have been lots of things going on from his celebration party for his new album, and he has probably been working on that album non-stop for the last few months. Now once King Von did make it to the club, he actually sat in his parked car outside of the club, just waiting there and relaxing on his phone. That was until he actually got word from one of his boys that a certain rapper, who was Rondo, was actually outside of the club in his own car. And then immediately, that's when King Von just completely jumped out of his car very fast. And from what his manager said, this all happened within a 1.5 second span. This happened so fast and no one even really knew what was going on. Not him or any of the other guys that King Von was with that night. And once he got word, he then started going towards the other rapper's car, and then that's when they actually got into that brawl with him. And I'm assuming everyone here watching this video has watched the surveillance footage by now, but that's when one of the other rapper's boys hopped out of his car and wanted to help out Rondo. The man that wanted to help out Rondo and then ended up doing that act towards King Von to help out Rondo was another rapper named Lil Tim. Now this guy actually has already been taken into lockup by the law, which is something that I am very happy about. I can't believe that he even did this, and from what King Von's manager was actually saying in the exclusive interview was that this Tim rapper guy, whoever this is, was the only person there with the you-know-what item on him. Now from what I have been reading online, a lot of people are asking why didn't King Von or any of his, boys that were with him that night have an item on them to, defend themselves with. And well, you actually can't bring those type of things inside of a club. And if you do remember what I said earlier in the video, that's what all of King Von's boys thought they were doing. They all thought that they were just going inside of the club and were probably just going to relax, let off some steam. They've been working very hard on his new album and things in that nature, so they actually left all of their items in their car because you're not allowed to bring that stuff in there. Not even security can bring those types of things inside of the club. So that's why none of them could really do anything to help Von in that situation. And from what his manager was saying, there actually was a lot of people trying to help King Von in that situation, but the only camera angle that we have seen so far on social media was showing, just a different story of it just because of the angle that the video was taken from. They didn't leave King Von there, to defend himself in that situation. I'm pretty sure from what he was saying was a majority of them actually ran back to their car to get their, protective items and things like that so they can help out King Von. And I'm pretty sure even a couple people actually ran to King Von right after that, helped him get into the car so then they can drive him to get some help. And I did really want to mention that, as this 60 to 70% of the things that I've read was, why did nobody help King Von? And well, what are they supposed to do if they don't have any protective items on them, since they left it in their car because they all thought that they were going into the club? King Von didn't even tell anyone what was about to go down. His manager said this all happened within a split time of 1.5 seconds. He didn't share any information with anyone. And this all states back to where his manager said King Von was just not in the correct state of mind that night. He didn't tell anyone what was going on. He wasn't really, talkative with any of his friends that night. And it could have just been a lot of emotions going on from his celebration party, or it could be things that we're just not allowed to know on social media due to law enforcement and things like that. It is still to this day a very, very unfortunate situation. I wish this never even would have happened. And from what I was listening to in the interview, that a lot of, King Von's boys that he was with at the celebration party were actually just expecting to go back to the Airbnb that night. No one even really knew exactly where King Von was going. Once they left his celebration party, King Von actually switched cars and then told the driver to go to this club instead of going to the Airbnb, where a majority of them actually ended up going. But obviously once they got word that King Von wanted to go somewhere else, they all turned around and started going where Von was going. So there was just a lot of confusion going on that night. That was all words coming from his own manager, who was actually with Von that night. If you guys did enjoy this video, make sure you guys leave a like on it and subscribe to the channel if you are new. It has been District Trending, and I'm out. Peace.